Yes, people. Good morning. Welcome back to United View. We are here hanging on by a thread, watching our football team play. It's just, guys, we're entering into the dungeon, mate. We are entering into the football abyss. Like, it's about to get, well, not about to, it has been, and it's going to continue to be an absolute madness. It really is. Get used to it, guys. Get comfortable. Big up to each and every single one of you. Good morning. Smash the like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. MA says, get well soon, Fleck. Yeah, I'll try. We're hanging on in there. We're hanging on in there, mate. We are hanging on in there. Big up to Andrew says, I would get a wing back straight away. Come through with a super chat. Says, I would get a wing back and central attacking midfielder in January. We need more creativity in the final third, then get a striker and a left centre back and at least one more 8 in the summer. Basically everything. Everything, Andrew,
everything. That's where we're at. I mean, you know, Flex, this is the thing. This is what Man United have done to him as well. You know what I mean?
Honestly.
It was ill yesterday. Couldn't make the match view. He actually sent me a voice note in the morning going, I'll come on the match view later. And I was like, Flex, don't do it. I was like, Flex, don't do it, mate. And then you watch that. And yeah, I mean, where'd you go from here? Where'd you go from here with Manchester United? It's more of the same. You know, you worry for Ruben Amorim. It's chaos behind the scenes, it feels like, at Manchester United. You've got players that they're trying to shift, trying to get out, players that are being, frozen out. You've brought in a manager or a head coach mid-season with a system with players that can't do it. And now you're getting the consequences of that. It's a game of chicken. Cannot bend the knee and just be like, oh, well, you've got to change the system to give these players what they want just in the name of getting results. A bit like what Rude did, which was literally just go, all right, let's put Casper Ugarte midfield 4-4-2 and get results. No, this is where we're at. How many times have we said recently, Flex, when we do these shows and we go we're mid-table fodder? Like that's who we are. That is
worst thing is Owen is we're below. Like mid-table, I was saying to my family, I was like, actually, I can't even say that. Mid-table fodder is your cemented 10th, 9th. We're lower. We're 14th. We're 14th.
You know, the panicking thing is with it as well is that this like talk about we'll get left wing back in January. Like we also, I think, have to get out of this mindset of like, oh, get this one player in and it'll be better. Like it's not going to be a player, is it? You know what I mean? It's not going to be a player. It's not going to be a couple of players. It's going to be wholesale. I mean, you've been saying rip it up for a long time, but until there is a huge core of these players out of the team and a huge core of players put into the team, players that can play how Ruben Amorim wants to play. I mean, this is a bit of a spoiler for the Trinity coming up at 6 p.m. this evening. KG kind of equated it to being written apart for a show. And then I was kind of like, well, it's almost like it's a part written for someone else, but they said no. And then you've given it, or you actually fell out with that person I wrote this part for. You do it. You do it. You do this part. And you go, well, it's not written for me. This team, this squad of players, they can't play 3-4-3, But the one thing that Ruben Amorim can't do is be like, oh, actually, okay, then I'll go 4-4-2. I'll go 4-2-3-1 in the nature of I've got to get results and I've got to keep my job, because then it's over. And it's even more chaos. What we have established with Manchester United is you cannot revisit things. Like when you're trying to implement a system or standards, you can't kick them down the road. If you kick them down the road, it's like Ralph Rangnick when it's like, I'll try to do 4-2-2. I can't do it. All right, well, I'm only interim. I've got to get results. Like Eric, when he first came in, lost first 2 games. Right, I'll go counter-attacking and I'll come back to it at the end of the season. You can't come back to it. Because one, you might not get the time, and two, the players, they'll know we won. We won.
And that's the thing, yeah. It's like, let's not, the revisionism that's going on, let's not act like in said formation beforehand, these same players buckle under pressure. These same players make mistakes. These same players don't know how to cope with the pressure. We've seen it so many times. So many times. Like when it was 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3, 4-4-2, or whatever, like we've seen it. And DK says it there. I saw comments on the preview. Cook and Flex were predicting a result like that. Like they haven't been watching a struggle versus every team. And that's exactly it. And I'm not here big up to the chat. Everyone's saying get well soon. Go back to bed, Flex. big up to you lot, man. I'm sure there's probably a lot of you in the comments who feel just how I look right now. So
there's a lot of it going around, isn't there? There is.
There's a lot of it going around. Like Joe Blackman says, hit the like to help Flex get better. Yeah. Flex, you look like how I feel, says Barry White. 100%. There's so much sickness and illness going around this time at Christmas as well. So dose up, peeps. Dose up. I've got a honey and lemon here. I've got some pineapple as well. So when I'm on mute and you see me do my thing, I dare you to try and come and say, I'm ready for anyone who says that today. Don't even
yeah, don't drink. Don't drink on the stream. How dare you?
But what was I saying? Yeah, these players, we've seen them given chances in their favoured formation. When we had wingers high and wide, when we had a pure number 10, an out-and-out 9, 2 number 6s, McFred pivot, and all this crap, we saw what we are. We saw. So, if anything, that's even more reason why this manager with this set of players must stick to what it is and weed them out. It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt a lot. Like I've said many times, guys, 11 to 16. That's our lotto numbers. That's our numbers, man. 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th. That is what we are. And as long as everybody, we have to block out the noise, because what will happen is, and it's already started, pundits, media, even some Man United fans will go, yeah, but this manager was supposed to be brought in to fix things and show something. He hasn't showed anything. It wasn't as bad as this. Nothing's changed since you've got rid of Erik ten Hag. You may as well have kept him. This, that, and the other. All of that will come. We need to block it out, guys, because the truth of the matter is, this manager should not be judged, right, without a window, without bringing some players in. That's when we can start to judge, because we all looked at this team and said, don't matter who the manager is. Like, yes, new ideas and a new way and a new formation. That's an idea, and we can see the idea. We can still see how we're setting up. We just can't implement it. It's a bunch of players who aren't good enough. I know, and you kind of, again, no spoilers too much for the Trinity, but you're bringing up some stuff about things you were worried about. You know, with the perception of Amorim, the longer this is like this, which is going to stay like this for at least the next 3 to 4 games.
Yeah, like it does. I think there is my only worry is that, again, I always equate to the Graham Potter thing when he was at Chelsea, of bringing in a manager mid-season and then sort of coming back, and then if you don't get the results that was anticipated. You didn't think they were going to necessarily go all the way up the league, but you didn't get the results you anticipated, and then people like Ineos start to get itchy and they start to get sort of trigger happy. And we have already seen it with Dan Ashworth, 5 months in, and they can then pull the trigger. I really hope that's not the case, and I don't think it will be, but I worry. And I think, once again, that's where Ineos have to back Ruben Amorim. If they can't back him in January in the transfer window, which I don't think they can, in terms of financially, and maybe, again, it depends on selling players and depends on what have you, then they can back him in terms of going, well, but look, regardless of how bad it gets, we're going to stick with you, and we're not going to pull the trigger or do anything like that. We won't do it. But I don't know. I worry, and because I think that when it comes to Ineos, the sort of projection of calm that was there even a couple of months ago just isn't there anymore. You know what I mean? That with the Dan Ashworth stuff, whether it was the right decision or the wrong decision or anything like that, it did just give this element of, maybe things aren't actually as sort of locked in behind the scenes as we thought they necessarily were. That long-term plan, has that actually been ripped up a couple of times? You know what I mean? Like, what does that long-term plan look like? And that idea of, again, calmness and this vision, I'm just a bit like, all right, is that still on, or has that changed, or do you know what that is, sort of thing? It's just, I don't know. It just feels like that.
Yeah, I get it.
We're not sure what everything is at this point. You know what I mean? And the chaos on the pitch now feels reflective of it as well. And we're going, okay, so because Ruben Amorim is meant to be the last piece of the puzzle, and it's not to say, because you get the response of, well, what did you expect? Did you think Man United were going to go all the way up the league? No, it wasn't that at all. Again, we know these players, we know this team. That's why I'm saying you cannot bend to them, cannot just allow them to get away with it again or anything like that. But this is now going to be a real major test of Ineos. And I don't just mean in terms of the transfer market. I mean in terms of their backing and their support. And again, yeah, you're right, holding their nerve of going, we know this season's going to be shit. We know this is going to be bad. We know we're not going to get relegated, hopefully, or anything like that.
That's the only thing. That's the only thing. I think when you spend substantial time in the relegation zone, that's when people would get twitchy. You know, that's where maybe, but it's not going to happen. Man United won't get relegated. I'll tell you that for free. We could finish 16th, but we won't get relegated. We could finish 17th, but we won't get relegated. That I do know. But it's a relegation battle to get to the 40 points. Like, we have to start that campaign. I'll tell you that for free.
And this is, you kind of brought up there, Flex, and someone's brought it up in the chat, and they are right. We did the preview, and obviously it went out Christmas Day. And if you go check out the comments, guys, you'll see it very, very critical of Flex being like, how dare you say we're going to lose? How dare you say that on Christmas Day? I know it's bad, but it's not that bad, blah, blah, blah. And the reality is, what do you want, basically? Because you got to lie. You know, you watch that team. How can you not watch that team, basically, and be like, we're going
to come to that conclusion? Yeah. Like, it was basically just an understanding of what we are, and I say comfortable. I use that term loosely because, again, if people want to be pedantic, they're going to go, oh, so you like losing, you're happy with this. Obviously, I'm not. But I'm comfortable with accepting what we are and where we are right now, because that's my way of coping with how shit United are. If your way of coping with United is, listen, I don't care how bad it gets, I always believe we can win the next game and start to turn it around. Have to believe sometimes. What's the point in being negative? Absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. Like, it'll be a long season for you, but absolutely fine. Like, there's that, you can't tell people how they must support the club, or you can't tell people how to view life. Some people's just life is glass half full, so no problem. But in terms of football, I like to separate football and life. When I'm dissecting football, I go, no, I've seen this sample size. I know these criminals. I know the lack of mentality. There's no way they're going to Wolves with a new manager at Molineux, Mateus Cunha, all of these things. And they're going to show minerals and put that to bed and overcome adversity. They don't have that in them. And I just saw exactly that. And it's not a point scoring thing. I don't want us to lose. I would much rather we came on here today and every single one of the comments could have said, and that is, Flex, why you just don't be negative. That is why you believe. Hold that, Flex. You know, this, that, and the other. And I would have went, yeah, like I did against City. I predicted we'd lose 2-1 against City. I don't always get it right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They did something I didn't think they would do. You know? All Elite says, it's always darkest before dawn. Love you, boys. Big up to you, All Elite. And Mr. Darkside says, now you see what I'm saying when I say the wing-backs need to be more attacking. Absolutely. Dallo at left wing-back. Dallo at left wing-back. Ahmad is also better at right wing-back than 10. The wing-backs need to be able to beat a man 100%, because we are getting into the final third and there's just not enough attackers. Like, we've only got 3. We only have 3 attackers in the whole team, which is weird, really, because the 2 6s or 8s, whatever you want to call them, are bit of both, but they're more defensive / keep the ball, bit of an engine room. The actual difference makers right now are the 2 10s and the striker, and they're way off it. And that's why these wing-back situations where they're just defenders being in there, it just doesn't help us at all. So you're right. Devroy says, Flex, don't you waste your time going to watch them. Yeah, wouldn't that be easy? Just don't. And Kristen says, morning all, can you wish me a happy 33rd birthday? Yes, we can, Kristen.
Yes, happy birthday.
Happy 33rd birthday from me and Owen and everyone else in the chat. Over 1,200 people bigging you up on your birthday. Sorry you had to watch United around your birthday. But look, Tabrez did it. I did it. Arsenal, it was, you know. This is what happens. Yeah. You can't rely on Man United to bring you happiness. We have to make sure we all agree on that. No. He said, I'm feeling down after yesterday's result, but still putting my trust in Amorim to turn this tide. Yeah, we just spoke about the manager, didn't we? That's exactly what it's got to be. All Elite said, here's a $5 Flex. Go to Boots and get yourself another pack of Lemsip. Appreciate your commitment, even when United depress us this much. Glory, glory, Man United. Glory, glory, United V. Big up to you, All Elite. I'll let you know I've got plenty of Lemsip and Nuramol and ibuprofen and all the fens and profens that you could
Yes.
imagine. But I really appreciate that. That's what's good about the community, man. Everyone just looks after each other. That's what we do. That's what we do. So I will take that $5 and I will go to Boots and stock up. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'll have everything.
Yeah, have everything. Or I'll just go buy some lemons or some fruit or something like that and some honey. So yeah, big up to you. Really appreciate that. Sir Ryan is here.
I'm gonna think it's gonna be quite contrarian. I'm gonna go with a guess.
He says, tired of hearing it's not Amarin's fault. What's he doing here then? Why is he in charge? He didn't know who our players were. Back 5 and still ships goals. We're toothless. Or is it trolling to ask? Is he trolling or is he being serious?
No, you know what? I can't even be bothered. You know what I mean? If you know, look, if everyone's allowed their opinion, aren't they? It's fine. It's fine. You know what I mean? It's fine. It's not above criticism, Ruben Amorim. No, it's not to say he's above criticism, but if the conclusion you're coming to after seeing, you know, Man United play is that it's, you know, Ruben Amorim says it's all his fault, then we really haven't learned anything, then, have we? But can't be asked.
I mean, yeah. I agree, especially me. Just what I cannot be asked. So Ryan, you win, whatever.
Yeah. Cool.
Show says, I know I'm in the minority, but I'd welcome relegation. Jesus, chance of a full reset and getting rid of the Glazers could be amazing for our club. They wouldn't sell if we got
we'll get relegated. that'll be the thing. If we got relegated, yeah, it'd be like it was done on purpose to get rid of them. You know what I mean? You know, sometimes when they think it's like 4D chess going on, it's like it's not. They're shit. They're not good. This is the thing, yeah. So like when you talk about Amorim, well, what's he doing? Like, let's be honest. Regardless of who's been in charge, because things are now getting romanticized, or you know, like for instance, Ruud's tenure across those 4 games, what it was, is now being romanticized because obviously we got results in those games. And it's like, well, if he was still here, then we would be getting results and it'd be this and be that. And you go, well, if Ruud was still here, he'd still be playing 4-4-2. And again, let's not let the results get in the way of the truth. Is those performances? I remember sitting through those games and doing them on the match field, whatever. They were shit. Like, I remember we drew Chelsea, and you know, that's how you get a result, isn't it? Right? Do the 4-4-2 and against Chelsea, Old Trafford, and look where they are in the league. They lost yesterday, but look where they are in the league. But the football was shit. Like, we can't, regardless of who's in charge, they can't pass the ball. they cannot pass the ball. So these players, they need to go, and we give them, I think, way too much credit. When Ruben Amorim came in, and he probably did too, in fairness. That is a mistake on his part, going, they're international players. They can adapt. They can't. They can't. And BD says Ruud won games with this squad because, again, that's how you have to. That's what Erik ten Hag had to do. When he went, right, I can't do this. Right, I'm going to have to go with counter-attack because that's what the players are used to. Because previously it had been Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's team, so they're all used to counter-attack. It's like now. They're only used to 4-2-3-1. So how? Or 4-4-2. So how do you get results with them? You go to 4-4-2. That's how you do it. But we've seen them play in 4-4-2. We've seen them play in 4-2-3-1 under Erik ten Hag earlier on this season. Remember we played 4-4-2 against West Ham at the London Stadium? Didn't win that game. Because again, yes, you can beat Leicester twice, who are like nearly bottom of the league. Yes, you can beat PAOK in the Europa League, playing again by literally parking the bus and playing counter-attack. But when you get to playing a half decent team, which is what we've done recently, maybe not Wolves, but when you get to playing Bournemouth or Forest, who are having good seasons at home, if we were playing 4-4-2, we would have lost those games because those players aren't it. They are not good enough. They are nowhere near good enough. You can play. The fact that we had to literally go to 4-4-2, park the bus to beat Leicester and PAOK shows where we are, just to get through games. And they were shocking anyway.
And it was individual brilliance. That PAOK game was absolutely, the whole rest of the team were absolutely awful. Shocking. Like, we're a really, really bad team. I sat there just before Ahmad even scored, and I think I was doing a vlog at the time, and I went, Josh, you know when you just look at the team, you just go, we're just a really, really bad team. Look at us. We're just awful. Nothing's changed. Just the formation. It's the formation. And you can argue the results are because we won those games and we're not winning now. But it's the same thing. Like, you can, it's
It
just
gives a false sense of
individuals.
security, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That
The reason we
thing.
won those games is because of individuals. And relying on individuals going forward can't work. That's why, because sometimes they can put the ball in the back of the net from outside the box and have a nice curler into the far corner and it looks great. Other times they can't do it all by themselves. Ahmad, look what he did against City. He bailed us out again himself single-handedly. When he's not bailing us out single-handedly, i.e. just him, what do we have? Nothing. You got our captain, who's supposed to be the chief creator of the team, getting sent off after 90 seconds of the second half. That's what we've got. We've got a goalkeeper and a bunch of defenders who keep conceding from set pieces. We've got attackers who don't shoot on sight. We've got wing backs who don't provide any attacking service for our forwards. That's what we've got. We've got players who make mistakes all the time.
We've got a captain, that's been sent off a bunch of times this season and is not leading the way he should be leading. And also now this is a problem in our next game against Newcastle because we're so overly reliant on him, whether he's good or bad, that for a fact now we're going to play Newcastle and we won't create anything because he's not in the team. And the problem is whether he's playing or not, whether he's good or not, that's our only creative outlet. We are so over-reliant on a maverick, and his maverickness going through the game. That's
one
it.
particular saviour.
That's all we have.
I forgot about that.
And itself is a problem.
No Ugarte and no Bruno for Forest at home. And as bad as we are, the instant thing you could say is, doesn't really matter if they play anyway. You've been losing all the games with them, which is true. But if you look at who has to come in instead, so you're going to say Kobe's been struggling. Does he just go with Eric? Does he go with Ericsson and Casemiro? Quite possibly. Does he then go in the tens of going Garnacho and Ahmad, and then you have to keep the wing backs as they are? No point bringing in Malacia. It doesn't do anything, does it?
With the strikers, it's really either or.
Anthony
now. And
in the 10.
And this is what kind of been said about the strikers recently. Like again, I'm over that again. Hold that. You need to apologize mentality when one of the strikers scores in the game, because I'm telling you now, Flex, the next game they won't score and it'll be like they're the worst thing ever. Like it's always like that. That's why it's rotation and inconsistency. Why Xerxes and Højlund come in and out. Because one game it's usually the one that comes on. One comes on, does well, and they're like, oh bloody hell, they scored, they do well. They'll start next game, and they're not that good. The other one comes on and does right, and they go, oh, this one should start next game. And then afterwards, the discourse is about, isn't it? Oh, see, I told you that player's got it, or I told you this player's had it, I told you. And you go, well, let's show me the next game. Show me the next game, because the next game will be the opposite with the strikers, and that's why I've been saying. You need a more ready-made striker. But then even a ready-made striker, all the talk about Victor Osimhen, coming in. You drop that striker into that team, we create nothing. The amount of times we get into the final third and the players, because they've got either no ability or no balls, that they literally just have to go, I'll turn around and pass it backwards because I'm worried I'm going to lose it or there's nobody there. I'll just go back.
They get overcrowded half the time. Half time when Højlund does get it at his feet. There's one time he got it yesterday in the second half. In the first half. And he got it like just outside the box to the left-hand side where Dallo was there. And I was like, look how many like wool shirts are around him. Like all he can do is pass it back and then try to get it back in the box. There's just nothing.
One point, Flex, where Harry Maguire stepped out with the ball, went forward. I think he gave it to between Bruno and Kobe. There's three of them. And I think there's not many Wolves players around him. And they both just passed it backwards. They went all the way back. And you went, if I was Harry Maguire, I'd be livid. I'd go, I've made a forward run. We're meant to have more players in these areas now. And we've gone back again. Or we'll have things where it's like 3-on-3 and we end up passing backwards. And what happens is, we'll look at the game. If sometimes with these United games recently, if you just looked at the stats and didn't watch the game, you would think that we were actually in control of it or we were dominating. Because sometimes it's like 60% possession, 65% possession, and we do have shots. And you would go, oh, actually, I think we're in control of it here. but it's not, because it's just across the back, kind of passing it sideways, and it's false. And you watch the game, and the opposition team, they
let us have it.
Yeah.
They let us have it, and that's why don't let these possession stats fool you, like I'm saying, because this is something that the opposition team just lets us have. And alternative facts is complete facts. This is Joe Linton will have Casemiro in a headlock, and with his legs have Eriksen in a leg lock on his neck simultaneously. Yeah, not just Tonali, Bruno Guimaraes, and Joe Linton midfield three. At it, bro. At it. Even Joe Linton just on his ones could dominate that. Even if we had Ugarte and Kobe or whatever, we are going to get absolutely overrun in midfield. That midfield, trio of Bruno Guimaraes, Tonali and Joe Linton is very scary for us right now, because we have no athletes. We don't have anyone who could compete in duels, in foot races, and be physically dominant. Whether it's from set pieces, whether it's in ground duels. It's certainly really Ugarte. Even Ugarte yesterday, in that first half where we absolutely stunk the place out, he was probably the only one again who at least can just get about the pitch. Yeah. And the thing is, it's not that he's like an amazing player. He's limited. It's just that he's got a decent engine and can snuff out some danger because he can get after people.
Yeah.
Wins the ball. But it doesn't turn into anything because he gives it to who? You know what I mean? But Tonali will keep running like there's no tomorrow. Guimaraes will keep running like there's no tomorrow. And obviously, we know all about Joe Linton. He's the most physical out of all of them. He'll be the most physical player on the pitch. And Newcastle, again, then you add the front three into that. Jacob Murphy, he runs around, mate. He's not great, but he runs around. Anthony Gordon, we know what he's on. And Isak, less said about him, the better. He's the top players. So, Gordon's going to have an absolute field day against what? We're saying we hope Ahmad goes right wing back. And then what? Anthony in the 10, right 10? Who?
And even that is funny, because this is when we get kind of fooled with the players, because Anthony came on yesterday and he did all right when he came on. You know what I mean? Did okay when he came on. He might have even been our best player second half. And then you get that gets turned into, well, Anthony Wright should start the next game. And he'll start the next game, and then we'll see him again for what they are. And we'll go, hey, shit.
But actually, for work rate, he probably should start against them. Actually, really. He won't do nothing, but we need someone who's just going to run something.
It's like you were saying, isn't it? It's just that you have to try and find solutions to the problems, but we all know what really the solutions are, and we know that the chances are it won't be enough. Basically, that's where we're at. And the amount of times the last couple of games, like yesterday, because it was Wolves, I know it was away from home, but it was like must win, have to win this game. When we played Bournemouth, it was like must win, because we knew the games that were coming up. We knew we had Newcastle, we knew we had Liverpool, we know we had obviously Arsenal in the cup. We were like, fucking hell, we have to win, because we knew we were going to lose these games.
And Forest, Bournemouth, Wolves lost all of them,
and we didn't win any of them.
Lost all of them, bro.
And now we're like, oh my God, those games that we earmarked to win, or at least get something from, because we knew these games coming up were going to be bad, we got nothing from. Oh my God, what is going to happen now? Because
and we know what's going to happen.
I'm telling you, like, it's not even that of, well, we're playing at home, so you never know kind of thing.
No.
Honestly,
it's worse at home.
That Anfield one is horrifying, honestly, absolutely horrifying. Because let's say, even like, yesterday with like Leicester, and you're like, oh, they're 1-0 up for a bit. Like, even if you go 1-0 up, they'll come back. They will.
The worst thing you could probably do to that Liverpool team is score early. You're better off with the game being 0-0 for longer.
Here's one flex, yeah. I know this is skipping ahead because obviously it's not the game at that point. But when we went to Anfield similar time last year, it was in December, and it was like we were really bad.
We
got fucking no chance. I mean, AGT was on the channel. He was going, I want 8, 9, 10, and all that kind of stuff, and it was 0-0. How are you feeling worse going there? Because we didn't even think that was possible, did we? We thought last year it's lowest of the low. We're going there. We're going to get smashed. Blah blah blah. But fast forward 12 months later, it's worse because they're better and we're worse. The gap's even bigger.
It's a bigger gap. I'd like to sit here and say, you know what? You're right, Owen. There's parallels there. We thought we couldn't do it last year. Maybe we can try and get a 0-0 and get out of there. Nobody saw that coming. In terms of nobody seeing it coming, that's the same. Like everybody who was, if you're a betting person or you just say with your friends or whatever, you just predict that. Everyone predicted minimum 3 or 4 Liverpool. Everybody. Man United fans, Liverpool fans, neutrals, they couldn't see anything other than Liverpool win. So the 0-0 was a shock for everyone, including
Yeah.
Virgil van Dijk, who was salty afterwards. They didn't want to play football. And we have to do exactly the same thing. But you're right. The key factor in this one is we are actually worse than that point, and they are actually way better. Way better. So we are, that's minimum 3. Minimum. We'll lose by a 3-goal margin. Could be 4-1.
And the worst thing is, if we concede in that game, the floodgates will open.
The floodgates will. Yes, 100%. If we have to score first to even have a chance of not losing badly, like, do you know what I mean? But even that could still lose badly. Could score first and still get packed 5-1. So it's we're going to get absolutely destroyed. And then the week after that, when your confidence is on the floor after back-to-back L's against Newcastle and Liverpool and Bournemouth and Forest and Wolves, like we're forgetting, like it's not just the last game, it's the game before that, the one before that. The last game we won in the league was Everton 4-0, no?
I think so. No, City.
Oh, sorry, there you go, I forgot. But already that's feeling like a long time ago.
A long time ago, yeah.
A lot, because the games are coming so quick.
When you did the match preview of Happy, wasn't it? I don't care about Carabao Cup because we got to focus on the league. We have one since those games.
I said, get me out of the Carabao Cup essentially, because I'd much rather the 3 points against Bournemouth. 3-0.
We've not got any points. We've got no points since then. You know what I mean?
And it is alarming about, ironically with this team, we take out an attacker and put an extra defender, and we're conceding even more goals. Like, that is, if you look at it from a football point of view, it's insane.
Well, and also as well, I think part of it is too that earlier on this season, we were saying how well that Andre Onana was doing. His level has actually come back down to closer to what his baseline is. He was overperforming earlier on this season. We were saying actually Onana, he might be our man of the match today because he's made some big saves and he's done this and done that. Apart from obviously Amorim's first game against Ipswich, where he was really good that game and he was unlucky to concede, he's gone back to actually his level was kind of last season, where you go, and actually, if you have a shot, I don't know what he's going to do. That might go in. And again, this is goalkeepers union. You cannot justify them. We had the conversation about Onana a couple of weeks ago here on this show. And I remember a lot of people going, I can't believe you're going in on Onana. How can you do that? Why are you going in on him? And the reality is, because it's coming. And it's not even necessarily Onana specific. It's the same with all of these players. These mistakes, these errors, these bad performances, if you think they're gone or they won't be returning, then you're out of your mind, because they are going to come back. It's going to happen again. And it was the same with Andre Onana. I know he had he had a difficult time last season. Well, no, because last game of last season, he fumbled one in the FA Cup final. That's who he is. He will always have that. And they're different mistakes. It's not the same mistakes like an Alisson will make where, you're passing it out from the back, and sometimes that can happen. I'm talking fundamental goalkeeping errors. That one against Forest, where it's in the middle of the goal and he just dived past it. That is your goalkeeping technique is way off. And it was a bit like the FA Cup final one. He just dived, weak wrist, it went in. That's a massive, massive problem. And yesterday, with the goal straight from the corner, I know they're like, well, sandwiched together, but from a keeper's perspective or whatever, you're looking for it. You're looking for it, and he's nowhere near it. And the fact that, again, that's happened to us twice. And it's happened to us twice in 7 days with 2 different goalkeepers, because we can't fucking defend set pieces. We can't. We're just so bad. And, in fairness, what puts us in an even more pressurized position of a team that's frail is your captain, who's meant to be leading you, gets sent off after 90 seconds of the second half. Where's the leadership when it comes to that? And it's not the first time this season that he's been booked for either a straight red or second yellows and all that kind of stuff, because he's getting it too involved with the referee. And it's not leadership, is it? And it's a team devoid of leaders too. I don't know who else would be the captain, in fairness, because who's the leader?
We ain't got anyone, yeah.
Who's the leader? Maybe just don't have one. Just don't bother. Give it to Ruben Amorim. He used to have it on his arm on Sporting Lisbon.
Yeah,
he used to wear it again. You know what I mean?
It's not the one. It really isn't the one. Super Art says, if we had one more person, the team was more balanced and creative with more attack without Bruno on the pitch. With Casemiro, Anthony, Eriksen came on. So when they came on, you thought it was more balanced? I don't know. We had 10 men, mate. We weren't doing anything. JM says, Flex, my missus is a homeopath and can treat you with natural remedies. Appreciate that, JM. I'm gonna stick with the remedies I got now. Hopefully they kick in, but appreciate the concern. Thank you. Appreciate that. And Red Baron says, we must not forget it was foggy at Wolves. Yes, it was foggy. Very cold. Very, very cold last night at Molineux. Muhammad Ali says, the media and a lot of fans turned on De Gea for this. Yeah, they did at the start, but he was a young kid. He was very slight, had more growing to do, had more bulking up to do. And Nana's what, 27? Is he 28?
Well, the media turned on De Gea because towards the end of his tenure, he was doing that as well. His last season, let's not forget, against West Ham, he threw one in the net.
Yeah, Ben Rama, he threw loads in the net that last season.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you do that, you're asking for trouble. And with the Nana thing, we've said it so many times. I said and it's getting more frequent now, but every sort of 5 to 8 games, there's going to be clangers in there. He's never going to eradicate. Like Owen said, he's not going to change his position and he's not going to change his technique. He's not going to change his anticipation. He's not going to change his agility now at this stage of his career. He is what he is. He was going to put the ball down slowly, wait, bait the press, long kicks to nobody or try and play. He's eccentric. That's how he is. And overall, not good enough. Not good enough.
Yeah.
Like it's
just, I can say that about most of the players in that team.
It's just that he's involved in it. He's in that batch of rip that up. Rip that up. We spent 40 million on him.
Yesterday, I mean, you go Maguire. This is what I was saying a couple of weeks ago, going I'll trigger the extension. 190k, sit on the bench for that, 4th choice. Absolutely no way. Let the contract expire. Leacher, we're still saying if we had another left centre-back option, he probably might not be playing at the moment. Yeah, because he's, again, not playing very well. We've got 2 wing-backs yesterday, Masraoui and Dalot, that played, that are not wing-backs. So we've got a system. And again, this is when you go back to Ineos, what you asking Ruben Amorim to do, what conversations did you have with him about the players, about this, about that, because you're playing a system with wing-backs and you don't have any. You do not have any wing-backs. That squad, we do not have wing-backs. It's a specialised position, isn't it? We do not have it. We do not have them. So that's part of it. Then you're going midfielders. You feel bad for Ugarte, because he is trying to put out fires. He does win a lot of duels, but every time he then gives the ball to someone after he's won the ball, it just comes back the other way. And that's almost why he picks up so many yellow cards, because he's having to try and bail people out of shitty passes. The amount of cynical fouls he has to do because other players have let him down in situations. Then you've got Cobby, who clearly is out of form. And I don't know if it's rustiness from the injury, if it's adapting to the new system, but he's off it. He's absolutely off it. Then you're talking about, once again, specialised positions. You've got those 2 10s, and we're saying that Ahmad, arguably one of our best players this season, because we play a system with no wing-backs, and we don't have any, we're going to put Ahmad in the wing-back position. And the people that are in 10s, we're going, Bruno is still being Bruno. The other people that were going to be saviours in the 10s, people like Mason Mount, ain't fit, injured again. And our strikers, they're not that. So you go through the whole team, position for position. They're not it. They are not it. They are nowhere near it. And because of that, you get results that we got yesterday, and we'll get results that we will continue to get moving forward. We'll still get the right results that we did, when we played Everton at home. We'll get those ones, sort of thing, and hopefully that'll be enough to tide us through the season. But even the chat before, when it was we'll just put all of the eggs in the Europa League basket. What are we going to do in the Europa League?
What we're going to do?
What are we going to do in the Europa League?
Mate, it's that bad. Forget the Spurs DNA and trophies, and look how terrible they are as well. But if we had to play them over 2 legs, I wouldn't fancy us. No.
Well, we've played home and away, haven't we, this season?
Yeah. We've conceded 3 in the first and 4 in the second. So we've conceded 7 goals against Spurs in 2 games.
Yeah.
So don't give me the whole, I normally do it. So I'm, again, after knowing what we are now and realizing and accepting what we are, I'm not chucking it to anyone. I wouldn't fancy Spurs over 2. I wouldn't be but European, the lights and the DNA, they just wouldn't be able to do it. No, if we had Spurs, if we get through this first round, which we probably will, I don't know what that even means. But we get through to the knockouts and we draw Spurs. I don't even know if you can in the first 16, can you? But whatever it is, right? I wouldn't fancy it. If we had to play Rangers home and away, we've got to play them at home now. But ain't Napoli in the Europa League?
No, I don't think so.
No,
But
Fiorentina. Sorry,
how can we be 14th in the Premier League and have any confidence we could do anything in Europe?
in Europe? Yeah,
Bear in mind,
against anyone.
we've done nothing in Europe for ages. You know what I mean? We're just it's ridiculous.
Lazio,
isn't it?
that's it. Imagine going away to Lazio now. 2 legs. Eintracht Frankfurt, Galatasaray beat us last year. Didn't forget.
Our show says in the chat we went life and death with Bodo Glimt, and that was they rotated as well because they had a title.
They had a bigger game.
The weekend. You know what I mean? It's just that's where we're miles off it. We're miles off it. So that's when you do have to get into the reality of like, and also, I mean, this is maybe a bit, by the by, but like hypothetically, yeah, let's say somehow we did Europa League, we scumbagged our way into the Champions League next season. We want to see these players play in the Champions League every single week. We were humiliated last season in the Champions League in a pretty easy group. We finished bottom. You get what you deserve in football. We don't deserve, just because we're Manchester United, we don't deserve to win games.
Exactly.
We don't deserve to be in the Champions League. We're 14th in the league on merit because that's how good we are in terms of the Premier League. We are the 14th best team. And look, and like you said earlier on the season, Flex, look at the teams we're keeping company with. Look at the teams that are around us. We've got no right to laugh at any of these other teams because we're just as bad. We're just as bad. We're shocked.
The only thing that's good now is, Everton got a game in hand, innit? Because they cancelled the derby, innit? So I was going to say, that 5-point gap is kicking into the teams below us. But Everton got a game in hand. But now you're looking at the sort of thing where, because the thing is so low down there, you can lose and the other teams won't catch you because they're going to get. That's why we'll be all right. That's why Everton might leapfrog us, but below Everton, we shouldn't. And guys, I know this is really shameless, right? But I was just doing the calculations. We shouldn't go lower than 16th because between Palace and Everton, actually, because Wolves will probably get out of it now. They've got a new manager. They'll start climbing. But between Everton, Palace, Wolves, look at that bottom three: Leicester, Ipswich, Southampton. They will stay there. So just off that, we'll be all right. We'll be safe. We might finish 17th, though. We might. And it's got that bad. That's who I look at. That's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at, hang on, Everton are 5 points behind us. That's a bit of a gap. That's a bit of breathing space. So when we lose the next game, that won't be too bad. But actually, Everton, depends when their game in hand is. Their next game is Forest. So hopefully Everton draw so that when we lose, they don't gain too much on us. Then Bournemouth away. I'm looking at the Everton results, mate. Fixtures. That's where we're at. Because I'm thinking, I don't want none of these guys to leap for it. What you're thinking is, how bad can it get? Like, what's the lowest can go?
And also as well, I've seen people having the conversation about, when's the next win coming? And a lot of people going, well, we've got Southampton at home on the 16th of Jan. Bear in mind, it's, that's still like, what
does that even mean?
19 days away. And even then, by that point, look, they got a new manager. Just because we're playing at home, it doesn't mean anything. You know what I mean? It doesn't really, does it? It doesn't, because we said that about playing these games recently. Well, we're playing this team at home. We're playing that team at home. We'll probably win that one. I have no idea. Like, not a clue. And then after that, like, because we're so, you know what it is as well, Flex. This is what happens when you don't win football matches too. Is then when you're in a bad run like we are now, then you start looking at all the fixtures. It's a bit like City recently, where you go suddenly start going, actually,
where's the win?
Any of them?
Yeah, and that's why they won for 13.
Yeah.
I mean, we can get that same treatment.
Yeah, because luckily the thing is with City is that they started off the season relatively well, so they'll just keep slipping, but they won't be in trouble. You know what I mean? No. With us, we started the season horrifically, so it's how much we're going to slip, how far are we going to slip.
I'd say definitely the next three isn't our 3 L's including the FA Cup game. Southampton at home. The thing is can you pick yourself up after that'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
That becomes a relegation 6-pointer.
6. Yeah, I know. But what I'm saying is it'll be 6 from Tottenham. From Tottenham to Southampton is 6 games. We would have been on a bounce of losing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Arsenal, yeah. So if we did lose the 3 that I think we're going to lose, that would be 6 losses in a row. 6 in a row, bro. Like, so to pick yourself up and even get the W against Southampton is like, that's tough because you're just so down in the dumps. It's like, Yeah, Southampton ain't great, but
And it's the
Jesus.
fact that, again, decent matches besides that haven't even happened, and we're talking about it like it's a matter of fact because we know it is. Like if we get to Southampton game and we've managed to pick up, even if it's like a point or two, we'll be shocked. But like, I didn't see that. I didn't see that one coming at all.
No.
Didn't-
Tab says this is the worst it's been in my lifetime. It is, Tabs. It
Oh,
is.
yeah, certainly for you.
Same. Yeah. And I know I'm old school me, but in my lifetime, I've not seen Man United this bad. I can't remember 87, 88, 89. I was only too little, so I only remember us being good. Ray says, still, we should be beating Wolves, these players, man. I don't know. And Andy Atherton says, the class of 92 played with Cantona, Hughes, Bruce, Owen, and Ince. Yeah, proper role models. Mainly Ahmad Garnacho have played with the likes of Onana, Shaw, Lindelof, McFred, Ericsson, Rashford, Sancho. We have ruined them. And that's just it. When people are saying just throw the young players in, what sort of environment are you throwing them into? See what I mean? What are we doing? What are we doing here? We have to be honest. Right, guys, before we wrap up, likes. We're just about 500 now, actually, and over 2.2k watching live.
We can get 750. We can get to 750 flex.
Yes, exactly.
Well, actually, there's a rumor that we had earlier on talk about homeopathic remedies. I've heard if we get to 1k likes, apparently it makes flex feel better. That's what I've heard. It's a good way to sort of stifle the illness. Is 1k likes,
Yeah.
It's an old school remedy from my roots. Also from Jamaica Flex. It's my old sort of Jamaican remedy.
Oh, he knows his Jamaican remedies.
Is 1k likes, and I remember it. It does help out. And then if you don't get it, then you just go.
You better watch out because we are coming for you.
Yeah, that's what happens.
That's the best one, man. That is the best one. We have had a whole show, rightly so. But we do need to do it. Obviously, not talking about Marcus Rashford. But January transfers, it's nearly January. This is a legit. It's not just bringing up the Rashford thing for hype and clicks and likes and views. It's the situation. It is nearly January. And he wasn't involved again. 4th game in a row. Amrim said, I'll do what I need to do. He's not here. So obviously it's clear. It's clear he hasn't done anything different. I think it probably has got to a stage where, regardless of how he trains, they're keeping him out now. I don't think that Rashford is still there, not trying in training or cussing out the place. Or I just think they've told him it's not. These won't be surprised. I don't think he's going into each match week going, "Oh, I hope there's a chance now. I think I might have a chance." Oh, he's not picking me again. Oh, did I get in against Wolves? Is it? Oh, he didn't pick. No, I think they've made it very clear because Ruben's just staying to the same script. It's the media that are building it up as will he, won't he? He ain't being. We said that he's not going to be in the squad until January. That's it now. Ever.
Yeah, I think that I don't know if it's guaranteed that he goes in January, but I think they're like you said, until it's resolved. I think he's being left out. It's kind of like one of those ones, isn't it? Whether or not it's feasible, it's possible that he goes in January. I was reading David Ornstein writing in the Athletic the other day, and he was basically saying like, if it's going to happen, either it'd be something we don't know about at the moment, or two, it'd be a loan. And then that loan with an obligation to buy or something like that. That might be what it is. Certainly, he's played the last time for Man United in 2024. Whether he's played his last game completely, we said that before about people like Jadon Sancho, didn't we? Bless you. We thought that's what it would be. So I don't know. But if we were to do anything in January, you think it would be on the back of a Marcus Rashford sale? That's what it kind of feels like, wouldn't it? Is that he would go pure profit and then United would try and sort of fund a spend. But it's just difficult in January. It's not to say the players aren't available, because I always say there is a select pool of players. Bless you. You could have seen people like, we've seen people like Diaz and Cody Gakpo be signed for Liverpool in recent January windows. We signed Bruno. City signed Julian Alvarez. So it's not as if it's impossible. Enzo Fernandez was signed for Chelsea in January. It's not impossible that you sign players. And sometimes they're loans or what have you, but I don't have any money, so I don't know how. I don't know how that's going to be funded. I don't know where that's going to come from unless it's on the back of a Marcus Rashford sale.
Yeah, I also wouldn't rule out. I know it doesn't really help us and stuff. You're not really sure what coffers they can find behind the back of the sofa kind of vibe, but because it is difficult in January, I wouldn't rule out a Jadon Sancho style, just to get him out of there. Like, because also it now does nothing for anybody for him to stay from January to August, or from now to August, or May, should I say, with him just not being in the match day squads that whole time. Because also trying to sell him in the summer with no football, isolated, ostracized from the squad, that would be worse than trying to sell Jadon Sancho last summer. You know what I mean? So I think no matter what happens, he won't be here by the end of the January window, whether that's a loan with no obligation, which again doesn't help us. It just gets him some football. Because this is such a long thing that's happened with us and Rashford, right? It's almost like both of them need to dip their toe in the water to see what life is like without each other, like a relationship break. And I know, like, in the world of football, we need the money.
Separate first. You know,
let's see how it is when we live without each other. You know, I'll go stay at my parents. You go and stay there, or whatever. Let's split. That's what it feels like with this, Raf. Because, like you said, ideally, you want Atletico Madrid or someone to come in and say, right, we'll give you 45 million, but, you know, obligation at the end of the season, and put down 10 now, or whatever. You want some sort of guarantee at the end of the season. But I just find that really hard. Who's going to do it? How's that going to happen? So maybe it might just be like Sancho, where we had to get him out of there in January to play some football between now and the winter. It worked for Sancho, man. Ended up in the Champions League final with everyone saying, hold that. And now subsequently he's gone to Chelsea for 25 million in the end. He will do. So I think that no matter what happens, Rashford has played his last game for Man United, like this season. I mean, how likely is it that he goes away on loan and then comes back and go, actually, in the summer, you know what? Let's let him stay. Very, very unlikely. So I'm going to go as far as saying I think Marcus Rashford's played his last game for Man United forever.
I don't think that's a big statement to make. I think it's entirely possible. And I think you were saying about Ruben Amorim being a bit worried for him. I think regardless of what happens with him, I think it's also an Ineos decision that they've also had enough. I think too. You know,
they've all decided.
They've all decided. Yeah,
they have all decided. There you go. Let's get the super chats here.
What you call it? And the thingy.
What do you call it? Red Baron with super chat says, like for Flex to go to bed. Yeah, big up to you guys. I'm going to do that. And yeah, we're up to date with the super chats, up to date with everything. Where do we get likewise? 590, 592, should I say? Yeah. Nearly 600. So on the way out, peeps, make sure you like it up, man. We didn't quite get to 750, but, you know, we did a good job. We'll see you guys very soon with more content. Time to rest, recoup, recover, ready for Monday night, because another L is incoming against Newcastle. Sorry to break it to you. We are out of here. Take care, peeps. Laters.